Manchester United's 3-1 defeat against Brighton was a sobering defeat. And nobody, including Erik Ten Hag, is exempt from criticism. What I'm going to do in this video is run through the things that we learned in that game. There were patterns that have existed all season and last season as well. Problems that Ten Hag needs to fix. It would be easy just to shout and point fingers at individuals. What's that going to resolve? What's that going to help? What's that going to fix? I don't think much. But I'm going to run through what I saw in that game that I think Ten Hag really needs to address. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But number one, Erik Ten Hag's tactics, I think, got figured out. I don't think they did get figured out by De Zerbi, and Ten Hag didn't address it. Here's the example in the game, right? So Manchester United, what we operated with during this game, you saw in the first 20 minutes where it worked, you saw Bruno, Rashford and HOJLUND pressing Brighton through the middle. And that worked until Brighton did this. Brighton's two centre-backs split. Look at the space between them, right? Because they did that, they dragged Manchester United's narrow press completely out of position. It meant that all of a sudden, when Brighton had this. So these two screenshots here are a couple of passes apart. Look how high Lamptey is. That's what Brighton did. They switched their system, ended up playing with their fullbacks really high and wide. They split their centre-backs nice and wide. And Man United's narrow press, because we switched systems, it worked for the first 20, then it didn't work. And Erik Ten Hag didn't react. Now, that kind of surprised me. Is that indicative of the fact that Ten Hag doesn't have the answers? Is it indicative of the fact that the players were not capable or able to make any changes mid-game? I think it's a little bit of both. But you saw De Zerbi switched it. The Brighton players understood how to do it. That was, for me, the biggest issue. Was it worked in the first 20 until Brighton said, you know what? Let's just push our fullbacks higher. And that's kind of all it required to get round United, and we had absolutely no answers. But United's counter press itself is an issue, and I'm going to say number two, we can still see that that press itself is completely without an identity. So often, it's one player going forward, someone else going forward, but not collectively as a team. What I'm going to do here is show you the example of the goal itself. HOJLUND there pressing from the front, Bruno up alongside him too, and they did that for the majority of the game. But you can see the body language here. A couple of passes later, look how static everybody is. You can see it. Rashford's not in a position to make a run or a charge there. Neither's Bruno. Neither's HOJLUND. Now he's dropped into position. Everybody is just kind of standing straight. They're not on the front foot. They're not where they can... Look, let's fast forward here, and we can see the same thing again. The body language of everybody. Does that look like a team who is with any intensity? Look, Rashford, HOJLUND's even walking up there. I suppose he's not involved in this part of the press. But that went through. All of a sudden, Brighton are through into goal, and Danny Welbeck scores. Man United's collective press as a team, still under Erik Ten Hag, is not there. Sometimes we press really aggressively from the front, but the midfield are too far behind. We can see even on over here, actually. You can see the space between Scott McTominay over there and Rasmus HOJLUND here. There's huge gaps there. And Manchester United's press, collective press, it doesn't work. And it still doesn't work. And Ten Hag, he's got to fix that. Sure, personnel is an issue to a certain degree. And I will speak about Amrabat in a little bit. But just body language, is it a fitness thing? Is it... I don't know what it is. But Manchester United's press, for example, against Arsenal by comparison, and how we tracked back as well, was so much more and better than it was against Brighton. So it can't just be fitness, because a couple of weeks ago it was fine. It's a lot up there, and Ten Hag needs to fix that. Now, a new problem that we saw yesterday, because it was the first time that HOJLUND started, but Rashford is going to have to learn that he's got a centre forward in his team, and Rashford is going to have to adapt his game. Last season, Marcus Rashford was our goal scorer. Anytime he got the ball, head down, drive, he was the man tasked with scoring. But this example here was, and it was bad. Rashford should have just crossed that from Rasmus HOJLUND. He was there sliding in, and it would have been a very, very, very simple goal. Instead, Rashford, it's kind of how he plays, head down, drives forward, left foot shot into the side netting. This is an example here at the top. I know it's a bit blurry, but at the top, you can. This is HOJLUND playing for Atalanta, the exact same run and move. HOJLUND gets on the end of this, and Atalanta score a really easy tap-in goal against Lazio. Rashford decides to shoot. Benny McCarthy and Erik ten Hag coached it into Rashford last year to be the guy, and he scored 30 goals. Rashford's now going to have to change that. He shouldn't be the guy to be scoring 30 goals this year. That should be Rasmus HOJLUND if it's one of the two. So Rashford now has to play differently. What was coached into him last year kind of has to be coached out of him a little bit, which is going to take some adaptation, take some time. And Erik ten Hag and Benny McCarthy need to show that to Rashford and say, look, from now on, you have a striker in the box. You have a centre forward in centre forward positions. Use him, because we will score so many simple goals because of HOJLUND's positioning. And that's something that Rashford's going to have to get used to. So I can't slam him completely for that yesterday. But it's something that he's going to have to learn very, very fast, because we've not had a pre-season. It's going to have to happen straight away. Otherwise, United are going to miss big, easy chances like that. Now, something that I think is a major problem, and kind of has been a major problem for Ten Hag so far, is still that Manchester United are so reliant on the counter-press for chance creation. Erik ten Hag, and when you watch his Ajax teams, they had so much chance creation through build-up play. Patient possession, playing through the lines, line-breaking passes from defenders, everybody moving, great possession and control, and chance creation through that. And if that doesn't work and you lose the ball, that's where the counter-press comes in. The counter-press should be an addition, an extra bit of seasoning on top of your controlled build-up play. And still, Manchester United do not have that. And then when the counter-press can just get, beaten if you just split your centre-backs, push your full-backs up, and tactically you can make a tweak that takes away Manchester United's biggest attacking tool, which is the counter-press, then all of a sudden you circumnavigate United's attacking threat. And United didn't have any response to that. Erik ten Hag didn't have any response to that. That's probably the biggest worry I think that we've got, is just how reliant we are on that counter-press. Spurs did it as well. First half against Spurs, we had the measure of that game. We created so many chances, and had we had someone like HOJLUND in that team, then yeah, it would have made a big, big difference. But until United start building up possession play, chance creation through possession, then it's going to be a little bit too easy to play against us. And basically all you got to do against United is say, look, if we can figure out a way to get through that front line top press, we'll probably be able to play through the whole of United team. Just exactly like Brighton did yesterday, and like others have already done against us this season. And an issue that definitely persists, and I'm not sure this is going to go away really, is that Manchester United's midfielders, a lot of them are just not fit for this high-intensity system that Erik ten Hag has. Christian Eriksen and Casemiro yesterday, because it creates huge spaces. Now, Amrabat's going to come in and make a big difference to this. Absolutely, he will. Do I think that Amrabat comes in and all of a sudden everything gets resolved? No, but we will all of a sudden have somebody in the first phase receiving the ball from defence. Our build-up play should get better. We should hopefully become less reliant on the counter-press for chances, because Amrabat helps us build through the actual team. But Casemiro and Eriksen, it's just the game is too intense and the speed of play is too fast for their styles of play, for their fitness levels and their age levels. It jars. It does jar. And I'm not saying that more signings are the answer, but I'm saying that as it stands, Ten Hag will have to figure something out. Last season, when Ten Hag started with playing out from the back and we lost the first two games against, of course, Brighton and Brentford, Ten Hag then went a little bit long and more direct with David De Gea. We won 4 on the spin. Ten Hag's going to have to figure out a way to negate this disconnection between our midfield and our front press, because as it stands, those midfielders just physically, are not capable of playing that system. Amrabat comes in and resolves part of that, but Ten Hag still tactically needs to figure another solution out there, because it's not working. And it now means that United have lost, 3 games so far this season in the Premier League? It's not going well at all. And there are problems, absolutely. Now, some people are jumping on this like it's oh, United lose and all of a sudden, get in the bin. Get in the bin. Manchester United as a football club are reflective of our owners. Everything is disconnected. And for Erik ten Hag, he needs to connect this team up. Brighton found it so easy yesterday to make one tactical tweak, push the fullbacks up, split the centre-backs, and our whole press was beaten. Our whole system was beaten. And Ten Hag didn't react in game. Or maybe he just didn't know what to do. One of the two. A multitude of problems that we saw against Brighton yesterday. And I've spoken through the majority of them here that I saw. I'm sure there were some that you saw as well. You let me know what you think in the comments below. But Ten Hag has got to resolve this. I absolutely still back him. Of course I do. It's not even a question. I've only mentioned it in the 11th minute of this video. That some people are going to jump on this and use it. But Ten Hag has got to tweak his system because currently in its format, it doesn't work. We're too reliant on the counter press. Ten Hag, man, you've got to fix this.